Hi, everyone. Good morning. I am Carol Williams with Williams Immigration, and you are listening to Beyond the Soundbite, where we talk about all things U.S. immigration. As you know, usually I like to keep things kind of on a weekly basis, what's happened in the past week, but immigration sometimes doesn't move as fast like that. So sometimes I will talk about things that are older outside of the week, outside of the past week. So, I like to dive right in. The first thing I want to talk to you about this morning is the stateside visa renewal pilot program, which is a bit of a mouthful. Back in the day, we used to just call this good old-fashioned visa revalidation. So here's kind of what we know so far. But again, everything that we kind of know is subject to change until they actually publish a rule for us, or they give us like the actual program in full. So what we know so far is that it will initially only be available to H-1B visa holders and not their H-4 family members, not their H-4 dependents. So that means that as of right now, if you're an H-1B visa holder, once this program is up and running, you should be able to extend your visa here in the United States without going home. However, your family members who are here with you on H-4 will have to return home. Now, we're not 100% sure if we're looking at sort of the final version of this. If you remember, I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, we talked about the executive order from President Biden that was based around artificial intelligence. So I could very much see where if you are potentially working in an artificial intelligence field or your job is AI heavy, that you may be able to revalidate your visa in the US. So that may be one of the changes that we see coming out of this. Not quite sure yet, but that executive order may expand what we are looking at when it comes to the stateside visa renewal pilot program. Not quite sure, haven't heard an official word on it, but wouldn't be surprised if that was kind of lumped in there. We'll see. But again, we're currently looking at H-4 visa holders able to extend their visas in the United States, H-4 family members not eligible for that pilot program. Folks also not eligible if your country requires a reciprocity fee. So essentially a reciprocity fee is the US charges a fee, then the other country charges a fee, or vice versa. The other country charges a fee, so then the US charges an extra fee. So if there is any extra reciprocity fees that are required, then you are not going to be eligible for this pilot program. And you'll have to go, you'll have to leave the US and apply for a visa at a consulate overseas. This program is also not eligible for individuals that need and must have an interview. If you must have an interview, then you are not eligible for this pilot program. So if you are not eligible for a visa or for a visa interview waiver, then this program is not for you. All folks that need to be interviewed have to go home. So that is if there is an interview needed for any reason. And that is simply because the US is not, or I should say DC, is not set up to do visa interviews. Okay, so that's what we know so far. Again, this is not at all final. It's all subject to change until it is implemented. But I will keep you up to date with what I know. Hopefully we'll see something soon. Maybe by the end of December would be quite lovely, but we'll see. Next topic is H-2B visas. So H-2B visas are temporary visas for folks that are coming in to the US that are being hired by employers for a seasonal need. So all seasonal need folks, except for those in agriculture. We know our agriculture folks have their own separate visa, which is an H-2A. So DHS and Department of Labor have authorized an additional almost 65,000 visas for H-2Bs for fiscal year 2024. So the exact number is 64,716 additional H-2B visas for fiscal year 2024. They have also added Bolivia to the list of countries that are eligible for the H-2Bs. So huge change, more visas, and adding a country. And as we know, not all countries are eligible to apply. Not all individuals coming from all countries are eligible for an H-2B. You must be from specific countries. So that is great news on the H-2B front. Next up, this glorious Monday morning, an advanced parole snafu, y'all. The last digital software snafu I told you about was folks overseas trying to get visas, and they've had a few hiccups with the new system, the new software system. This time the hiccup is internal to the US. It is with our advanced paroles. So USCIS is aware that some of you received advanced paroles this month that were issued with the incorrect category. So if you were just so excited to get your advanced parole and you didn't look at the category, you need to go and look at the category and touch base with the immigration attorney that is helping you. If you think that your advanced parole has the incorrect category on it. And if you didn't use an immigration attorney, and you still should be checking to make sure that it's the appropriate category, my office is certainly happy to help with that. But some advanced paroles that should have been issued with an adjustment of status or a green card code were coded for TPS, temporary protected status. USCIS is aware of this. They are reissuing new cards to those individuals that were impacted. So look for your new card in the mail. So if you weren't aware of this and you get a second card and you're not quite sure why you're getting a second card, look at the code on the card. It is probably different. USCIS went through their records to see if they could figure out everybody that was impacted by this. Now, it is the end of the year. It is the holidays. People want to travel. You want to make sure that you're traveling on an advanced parole that has the accurate code, because that is one of the things that folks in the airport are going to use to admit you, and then input into your I-94 card the status of which you are being admitted. So you want to make sure that your code is accurate. If you need to travel and you currently have the wrong code, you're going to need to make an appointment at your local office. Just be aware, make the appointment, take the day, and if you need to expedite, you still must have a regular appointment scheduled before you can request an expedited appointment. So not what anybody wants to hear towards the end of the year when there's a lot of travel already booked, plans already made with family and friends. So just do yourself a favor and double check to make sure that your advanced parole has the right code on it. The next thing I want to talk to you about is USCIS has been making great strides with getting people individual information about their processing times. It's called My Progress, and they have opened up for family-based cases, for some family-based cases, a system in individuals' My USCIS account. So you must have a My USCIS account for this to apply. When you go into your My USCIS account, there are estimates, there are timeline estimates of how long your particular application will take, right? Again, these are estimates. I've had people, reaching out to me saying, well, my estimate is, 5 weeks, 5 months, whatever. Will I get my card when that time is up? Maybe. It's a big old maybe, right? These processing times are, they are not set in stone. They are only estimates, but it helps sort of, not have people feeling like they process they file their application and now it's in a black hole. So it's not a guarantee, it's just an estimate, but it is certainly better than what we had before. So the current cases the current case types that have this ability within your My USCIS account. So again, you must have a My USCIS account, and your case must be properly linked to your My USCIS account. So if all that's in play, if you have filed a advance parole, which is your travel document, your EAD, which is your work authorization document, your N-400, which is your application for naturalization, your I-90, which is an application to replace or you get a new physical green card, or your I-130, which is when you're petitioning for a relative. Those are already a part of the My Progress program. They are now expanding that program to include the Form I-45, which is an adjustment of status application, which we know is the last application for your green card if you're in the United States, as well as the I-821, which is your application for temporary protected status, otherwise known as TPS. So the expansion of the My Progress program to include the I-485 and the I-821 is big. So again, it is only for individuals that have set up their My USCIS account and their case is linked to their My USCIS account. Okay. So the last thing I want to talk to you all about is another national interest waiver tip. We know that the national interest waiver is a way of getting a green card. It is under the second preference category, meaning that the individual has a master's degree or higher. They have a proposed endeavor, a proposed career plan, a proposed job that is both of substantial merit and national importance to the United States, that the individual is well positioned to advance this endeavor, and on balance, it would be beneficial to the United States to waive the normal EB-2 requirements of a job offer and the labor certification. So once we get through all of that, the question I've been getting quite a bit is, will I get my green card in the mail after my national interest waiver application is approved? The answer is no, which is not what most people want to hear. It is no, because the national interest waiver is not the final application in your green card journey. After you get your national interest waiver application approved, then if you are in the United States, you can file for your adjustment of status. Your adjustment of status is that last application. That is where the government does all their background checks. And once that is approved, then your green card comes in the mail. If you have applied for national interest waiver and you are outside of the United States, once your I-140 is approved, then you do what we call consular processing, and you finalize your green card application through the U.S. consulate overseas. So once you get your national interest waiver application approved, which is huge, which is a big deal. I don't want to minimize that. That's a big deal, you still then have one more application to go, whether it is processed by USCIS if you're inside the country, or whether it's processed and you're sending your documents to a US consulate overseas. There is that one last step. So, but I will say that national interest waiver part is a heavy lift. As any of you have worked with me know, a lot of documentation that we submit to the Immigration Service. So those are my updates for today. Everyone, please have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Monday and a great rest of your week. If you have any questions or you need help with your immigration case, feel free to reach out to my office. And we are happy to get you scheduled with a consultation and see how we can help.